Hi friends, this is Haruka from Planet Education. This is week 8 in sheltering in place in the San Francisco Bay Area, and lots of things are changing. It's a very fluid situation. Today I want to talk about reimagining fall of 2020 because as the seniors have just made their final decisions as to where they want to enroll in uh, in the fall, a lot of us are trying to figure out what is that going to look like. I am originally from New York, and so I've been following Governor Andrew Cuomo's reports about how to manage this coronavirus situation. And he says that we have to reimagine 2020, reimagine this year. And so, from a college perspective, we have to reimagine what the universities are going to look like in the fall. We cannot go back to yesterday. It's going to be different. And so how is that going to be different? We have to figure out how to mitigate the risks from all levels, from whether you are a student, a parent, or a university. We have to reimagine what the various scenarios are going to look like, and this is going to be different depending on the location of your college or university. It'll depend on whether you're talking about the living situation or the campus lectures, various things. So first thing we've discovered is that this virtual learning is going to still stay in some scenario or another. I think that if you think of traditional universities, you think of the big lecture with hundreds of students. That is very, very unlikely to happen because of safety. We need to still maintain social distancing. So there may be different rules, like a school may say we are only going to have classes that have up to 50 students. Or if there are large classes, we still may have to have social distancing, people sitting more than 6 feet away from each other, and masks may be mandatory for everybody, professors, students, staff, etc. Because there are studies that show that with mask usage, the transmission can be down as low as 1.5%. That said, if you are scheduled to have discussion sessions or labs or some hands-on learning, those types of learning may be, will require some sort of modification. What about schedules? I think all of the schools want to restart in fall. Again, it's a question of how, because you want to maintain both equity. You want to be fair because the parents are going to be paying for this tuition, whether it's 25K, 35K, 80K for, there's public or private institution. And if you're going to pay that, you're not just paying for online learning. They want to have the whole student experience. And given the fact that, things are not going to be totally back to the way they were by August or September, schedules may have to change. So if your school had a semester system, and maybe a January term, some schools are talking about getting rid of the January term so that they can catch up with the rest of the curriculum. If your school has a trimester or quarterly system, don't be surprised if, they're going to be, it may have a slower start and then try to catch up towards the end of the year. What about athletics? If the school, larger schools, state schools with football stadiums and, basketball, that type of thing, fall is unlikely to restart with a bang. at a lot of schools are talking about having games but with no audience, and so just having the broadcast, again for a safety perspective. Tokyo Olympics have been postponed till next year, and so many of the schools are talking about restarting in the spring instead of the fall. What about residence halls? It's really hard to keep social distancing, so their parents and families may be wanting to have more singles. We may have they may not allow triples and quads or even doubles in some situations. It depends on the school and it depends on the location, but definitely it'll be more desirable to have low density accommodations, and that's really, really tricky. Some residence halls may institute things like mandatory temperature checks for students, and you may have requirements that students have to go to the different go to health centers if you have a certain temperature. And that brings me to healthcare. I think all of the colleges and universities are going to be investing heavily in their campus health clinics, because they're going to be responsible for keeping track and monitoring the temperatures and any increases in cases in case there is an outbreak. If there is a vaccine that is available, they may require mandatory vaccines, just like meningitis has sometimes is required in some universities. And again, this is something that parents may demand as well. How about international students? So due to visa situations, a lot of students from, say, Asia may not be able to enroll as planned for the fall. And it is true. I mean, if the university you're looking at has a high international or out-of-state population, that may cause that's a higher risk factor, right? Because right now you're trying to maintain safety, and safety means keeping having as little if you have a lot of movement, that just increases your risk. So right now the international students may be restricted, and that has an interesting impact on enrollment, because some schools have a very high number of international students, and with that the universities may be interested in filling up those seats. How do you fill them up? Could be a whole domino effect on sometimes we will have some factors that families will think, I don't want to send my kids to school because it is high risk to bring them to school. But of course, almost everybody wants the schools to return to normal. Another thing that we're noticing is and like from the Asian kids, is that there's an increase in hate crimes towards Chinese students and Asian students. So universities have to be mindful and just bring more awareness so that students feel safe. Overall, contingency planning is important for everybody in case there is, even in the best case scenario, schools will reopen with many, many restrictions. And even if it does open, schools have to be prepared for a possible second outbreak in the fall or in the winter, and be, we all have to be nimble and figure out what we're going to do in the scenario, and be able to manage some abrupt changes as well. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope that this has been helpful. If you like this, I hope you can share it and like it right on Facebook. Also attend my College Knowledge webinars, which are taking place on Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. I have, we're right in the middle of the spring series, which is 8 webinars. We've completed 4 sessions on college financial literacy, and now we're going to be talking about college research. So this Thursday, the topic is going to be Ivy League schools and selective schools. I hope you'll join me, and we'll see you on Thursday and or next Tuesday at 9 at my next Facebook Live. Thanks, Motoko. Thanks, Shizue. Bye-bye.